Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please?
Ready for an adventure? Whether you're revisiting cherished moments or planning new escapades, Nostalgic Travel Talks is here to inspire your wanderlust. Let's take off. Everybody, and welcome to Nostalgic Travel Talks. I'm here today with my co-host Brittany Johnson and our special guest Cristina Matute, who is a linguistics professor at St. Louis University at the Madrid campus. Welcome, Cristina. Can you tell us a little bit about your role at St. Louis University?
Well, thank you, and I'm very, very glad to be here. I am a part of the Spanish department in Madrid. I teach linguistics that relate to Spanish language, and I am also a teacher of Spanish as a second language for beginner, intermediate, advanced, and superior students who wants to develop their proficiency in Spanish. And I do research. The research is about the variation of Spanish and also about the Spanish as a second language. So the acquisition of Spanish is one of my passions.
Wonderful. I remember taking your course in, I don't remember what year it was. It was in the early 2000s. And it was, I would have to say it was probably one of my favorite courses. And I it gave me a love for linguistics. And even after the course was over, we stayed in touch and I continued to read about linguistics and things like that over the years. And I tried to incorporate it into my courses when I taught my own students, not to the level that we had in class because I teach high school students, and so that was a little bit difficult to get them the same appreciation for linguistics, but it was quite a bit of fun. It was very much. And Brittany here and
That's
I
great.
visit last about a year ago. This time we came and saw you at the campus, and it was very nice
Uh-huh.
to see all of the different changes and things like that to the school. What did you think of?
Yeah, the Madrid campus has developed from the very beginning. It has more than, I think it's going to be 60 years old, the campus, and it has developed from a study abroad campus to a university that students can get their degrees, terminal degrees, studying all their studies in Madrid, not only the BAs, but also the MA. We have an MA in Spanish that you very well know because you got it. And we also have recently, well, some years ago, 3 or 5 years ago, maybe more, the politics degree, a master in politics. So right now we have over 1,000 students, uh, 1,300 students this term. It's the highest number of students. So the space is little, but the space is spreading. So we have more space for our students to be comfortable in the campus. Since it's an urban campus, the city of Madrid, we are in the middle of Madrid. So the students have a very special experience because they are in Madrid, in the city, and they get out of class and see and can talk to many Spaniards and Latin Americans. Because right now in Madrid, as you could see the last year, in Madrid we have over 1 million Latin Americans.
Mhm.
Well, that's a lot. So Spanish is here in Madrid is Spanish is from everywhere. You see, that's something that I love because since I study the variation of Spanish, I'm very glad that I can hear voceo in the bus, or I can see, well, in the park I can hear Yopara, which is a mixed language like Spanglish in the United States. Yopara is a mixed language between Guarani and Spanish, and it is used in Paraguay. But the Paraguayans that come to Madrid, they also keep on speaking Yopara. So I'm very glad to hear that kind of Spanish from everywhere in Madrid without moving.
That's,
Yeah,
and
it sounds. Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say, one of the things that I really loved about, and one of the reasons I chose to study there was because of the immersion experience. And, the program was it was just a phenomenal program. I met teachers from all over the United States, and that was our common, that all taught Spanish. And we got, like you said, having a chance to visit, after class, you can go, like on the weekends, we could go to different cities nearby. So, I mean, it was just like a classroom, like a huge laboratory, basically, to learn the language just more in depth.
Exactly. To practice it as much as you can, which makes practice makes perfection. So the more you use it, and in the immersion situation, you can use the language all the time if you want to.
Mhm.
So it's a perfect situation for someone who wants to develop a language.
Hmm. Absolutely. And it was Brittany is a beneficiary of that because most of the time that I was in Madrid studying, Brittany and her siblings came with me. So they got to spend their summers in Madrid.
Yeah, I remember that
Yeah.
being a very helpful part of learning the language. And like we know, immersion is super important to being able to learn and master language. And just in our last visit in March, I found that to be very important and beneficial. Uh, just for the time that I was there, I was like, oh my God, my Spanish is getting so much better just because I get to use it as much as I can. So it definitely makes a difference. And I can imagine that being on a campus with so many different kinds of students, you're exposed to many different dialects. So that's going to just further your knowledge of the language even more.
I remember
Exactly. And then, sorry, Cheryl, go ahead.
I, that was one of the challenges with the different dialects and just talking to people, like, for example, talking to children, because if you're learning Spanish in the United States, you're not going to meet children that speak Spanish, in your community necessarily. So, and then children obviously speak a lot differently, and it's very, very hard to understand at first when you're talking to children. And I would say talking to people that have, I know I remember talking to someone who had a speech impediment, and that was just so hard. And somebody who had memory issues, which kind of worked because she kept repeating the same questions and I didn't always understand what she was saying. So she would ask me, I don't remember what she was asking me something and I can't remember what it was, but I would ask her to repeat it. And then she forgot she had said it. So she asked me the same question again. But by the third time, I knew what she was asking. So those kinds of things just really help you learn. And I mean, you're not going to get that any other way than by immersion, by being in the place.
Yeah. Right, because you can interact, and without interaction, there is no acquisition, quality acquisition. Because, for example, right now we have the internet so normal for in our lives. Internet is so normal, and there we can hear to any kind of Spanish. In TikTok, for example, there is a lot of vernacular Spanish, and you can access any kind of academic Spanish. But the thing is that if you don't interact with the people, then the acquisition is not developed the same way. It can be developed by memory or maybe for the pronunciation, it is good to use internet. But the thing is that if you don't have interaction, there is no quality acquisition because in the interaction process, there happen feedback, corrections from the hearer and the interlocutor, the person you're talking to. that person is going to help you without knowing, unconsciously. They are going with your face, for example. They are going to tell you if you have to change, to refrain, to whatever. So interaction is fundamental. You see, in the acquisition studies, there has been someone that you know very well in my classes, Krashen, that said, "Oh, for acquisition, having input is the most important thing." And then came other theoreticals from acquisition studies that said that no, input is necessary, but without interaction, there is no acquisition. And that is something that is shown by the students that come to Spain and develop their language in interaction. For example, those students who have not very a lot of people to interact with. For example, those who live alone in a student hall or whatever, but not in a family, for example. Those students who live alone or are always all the time speaking to people in English, they don't develop their Spanish as well as much as those who live in a family or those who have a lot of friends or a boyfriend, a girlfriend. They speak a lot of Spanish in interaction, and those are those who develop the language much more. So, and the interest, because you can be more interested in the language because you need to communicate and you need to learn more culture, more whatever. So that's a situation that cannot be replicated with the internet or the artificial intelligence. I tried a program on the internet that was called Talk AA, AE. Uh, I opened an account to try to see how interaction is with artificial intelligence, and it is not very good. Still not very good. So in writing it's okay, but in spoken language is not, still not so good. So we have to wait for more development on that side. But we are humans, so seeing your face, which is a natural one, it's not artificial. That's something that cannot be replicated.
That's true.
Yeah.
How did you get involved in Spanish linguistics?
I think that is something hard to. I just like to analyze Spanish. That is something that I loved doing when I was in the high school. But I also liked language classes like French or English classes. And then I joined German classes. And I love languages. So I thought, I think that Spanish would be my major because I wanted to teach Spanish for foreigners because I had very good teachers and very good experiences with German, with French and English. And I really felt like that was something I wanted to do. And this is what I did. I did a PhD in variation, but I cannot stop having students and helping them develop Spanish. So it's a kind of passion of for foreign languages. I
Mhm.
just loved speaking English, for example, speaking French or speaking German. Even though I am not perfect in any language, in any second language, not even in Spanish. I'm still learning all my life Spanish, but it's something that I really like, how languages are made, how we use them. Mm.
Absolutely. I agree. I just love, I don't know what it is that drew me to Spanish, but I always have loved it. And that was, when I was in school, that was like my only constant, like
Uh-huh.
not as interesting. Like I wasn't the best student, but when it came to Spanish, that's the only area that I really did well. I wasn't a horrible,
Yeah.
but Spanish was just my best subject.
It's not that you are perfect using it, because if we are not bilingual, then we make mistakes. But the thing is that that is a challenge to
Mhm.
communicate with someone successfully. That is a challenge, and challenges drive a lot of mental processes and passions, emotions, and that is something that I love to try. I love to try to challenge myself and challenge the communication situation. And there's another thing I was thinking about when you were talking about that. Um, don't you feel that differently when you speak Spanish? For example, Brittany, Cheryl, do you feel differently as if you had another personality? Not exactly. That is something
Yes.
not nice. No, but I think that your personality, normal personalities, work differently in different languages. So when I speak English, I feel somehow different as when I speak Spanish. So do you? Do you feel different?
I would say,
In
yeah, I
which?
feel different. And when I speak Spanish, I would describe it more to like, yeah, like how you said, kind of feeling like I'm a different person in a way, even though obviously I'm not, but it just kind of feels
Yeah,
different, in a way that I can't really describe other than because I'm speaking another language, but it does feel different.
yeah,
Like you obviously like the way you're speaking, the movements that your mouth is making are going to be different. So maybe that contributes to it too.
yeah. That's right.
Read something about that too. I don't remember. It was some research that someone did, and it was exactly what you just said about how you feel like a different, like sometimes, like for example, if you have to give bad news, they
Right.
said that if you say it in a second language, that it's easier to say it. It's easier for you to do, and I don't know why, but I think that's true. Like if you have to say something that you really don't want to say, and you say it in a different language, not your native language, that maybe it cushions the blow for you. I don't know, but it makes it easier for you to say what you got to say.
Get that news out.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, because there are the emotions are transmitted differently, and your brain reacts differently to the second language. So, for example, the emotions when I speak Spanish, I don't think about them. But when I speak English, for example, English is very dynamic, and the intonation is different. As in Spanish in Spain is very monotone, but in English it's very different. The music of English is different. So I feel happy when I speak English. You see, maybe you think it's something funny, but I feel happy.
I would,
No, I
I,
get that. Oh,
yeah,
go ahead.
and it's so I feel in reverse because I feel like Spanish is just so much prettier.
I agree with that one for
Yeah.
sure. Certain things just sound better in Spanish.
Too. Like, do you have a favorite word in Spanish,
In
Cristina?
Spanish. No, I don't. It's so hard to choose. I have no idea which one would be. Well, sometimes I think about a word that is very academic, which is ipsipila. I'm sorry to bother with you with this word, which is very rare word, ipsipila, which is in a poem from this Nicaraguan poet, a modernist. Right now, I can't remember. Oh my God, this is not very academic, but I forgot. Rubén Darío. Yeah, Rubén Darío. He when he was a modernist in his modernist tape, it was a very strange word, but I loved the sound, ipsipila. So he was talking about the butterflies and how they change into, well, how the process of changing is with butterflies and worms and all that. And sometimes he used that word. And so that is a danger that comes when you ask a linguist, which is your favorite word in Spanish. No, so
On
do
the
you
other side
have
of that,
do
I'm
you have
sorry,
do you have a favorite word in Spanish?
Brittany,
burbujas,
I knew you were gonna say
Burbuja.
burbujas y pantuflas, aceite. Yeah, I like those.
uh-huh.
Ajá.
Como, I love that word.
¿Cómo?
¿Cómo?
Como, yes.
¿Cómo, cómo?
Oh,
So simple,
why?
but so effective. I don't know. It just sounds so good to me. Like just como. Like I really enjoy that word.
Ajá. With the vowels and so simple.
Hmm.
Well, simple for me because I am a native, but since I teach Spanish phonetics, it's not so easy. The vowels of English and the vowels of Spanish are very, very different.
Mhm.
So my students have problems with como
Oh,
in
Mm.
Spanish. It's not so easy. Yeah, they say como,
oh,
como, and
uh,
that's not the way because you have to keep the same O all
mhm.
the time.
Yeah, I guess I understand why that would be tough for them. Yeah. I'm trying to think. I think Brittany stole my favorite words. Yes, burbujas is definitely a favorite of mine.
It's a good word.
It is. It's just, I don't know. It just sounds so fun. I don't know.
I agree. I think it's the spirit of what a bubble is, you know. It's like this fun, whimsical thing, like burbujas, like that one. It just goes well. It just works.
How about estraf? I'm not sure if I'm saying it right. Estrafalario?
Extrafalario.
Estrafalario. I
Boy,
don't.
without X is estrafalario with S.
Mhm.
Estrafalario.
Estrafalario. And I don't know why that stands out in my mind, but it's just something that does. As a
Yeah, we cannot.
just a fun word.
That's it. You cannot reason why. It's something emotional.
Hmm. Right. And there's, yeah, like you said, there's no reason, rhyme or reason to it. It just is.
On
Oh,
the other side of that, Cristina, do you have a favorite word in English?
Oh my.
mm,
Eh, I just think that maybe the way, not the word, but the way that you make vowels disappear. For example, heaven. It's something that in German is also made. English and German are Germanic languages, and they have those vowels that disappear.
Hmm.
And when you are a native of a Romance language, such as Italian or Spanish, we keep our vowels all the time. So when a vowel disappears, it's not hard. It's not easy for me to do it. So heaven or
mm.
possibly. That's possible. Possible. You forgot about an I. Where is the I of possible? Lost. So that is something that it's a feature, it's a characteristic of English that when you are not native of a Germanic language, that is not easy to use. It also happens in French, it happens in Portuguese, in other languages, Romance languages, but in Spanish is not so common.
Mhm. Yeah. I think of that with the word extraordinary
Extraordinary. That
because it's extraordinary is, I mean,
yeah.
You probably can pronounce it both ways, extraordinary or extraordinary. And
Yeah,
I just always thought that word was funny to me. I don't know.
Yeah,
yeah.
where'd the A go?
Yeah. It's just, I don't know. And maybe that's why I loved your class so much because it makes you just think about things like that, you know? Um,
Yeah,
nature of
that
words.
is linguistics.
Hmm.
Linguistics is to help students think about what they say, what they hear, what is a language.
Hmm.
It's to think about what we have in our brains and how we do it differently in different languages. So that's very interesting for me, looking for patterns.
Hmm.
Linguistics is about patterns in our speech and how they relate to the each language, which is different.
Yeah, it's just, and when like when my grandchildren, well, when my own children were little, just looking at them and watching them acquire language is just blows my mind. Just the
Yeah,
way when you can see their brains working and how they think, and especially because when as a at learning a second language, like when you're learning Spanish, if you're talking to a child, sometimes children make the same mistakes that Spanish language learners make, but it's because they're following the rules. And like with I mean, it happens in not just in Spanish, but in English too. Like if, say, for example, you're learning, I'm trying to think of a regular verb. Uh, I'm drawing a blank, but you know what I mean. Like if you learn the rules, and then like, oh, I run every day, or I runned to the store, and that's not right, but you understand why they're saying it that way. And I just think that's just interesting to me, just to listen to that.
it is because I think that the children are linguists, unconscious
Hmm.
language linguists, because they take the patterns from what they hear all the time. You see, since they're born, they are hearing all the time, looking for patterns, and they apply the patterns that they think that they have heard, and then they find that there are exceptions. So it's the same way as the acquisition in adults, in grown-ups works. The students we have in our classes, unconsciously they are creating patterns of in the language.
Hmm.
Okay, so they try to apply, but it's more complex. It's not exactly the same acquisition in children and in grown-ups, because the grown-ups have the problem of their first language. So
Yes.
the native language, and that interferes, and the patterns that they create from the second language interfere with the patterns they have in the first language.
Mhm.
So it's crazy, but we can do it. So that means that humans have an intelligent brain that can do anything without ChatGPT. We don't need ChatGPT for for speaking any language. But well, that is a shortcut
Yeah.
that can correct your text and whatever. But the what matters is the brain, how your brain creates the language and how it is corrected by the feedback. You
Mm.
see, so that process that is only made by your brain, and it's amazing. It's amazing, and that is something that is not easy to do. That is why the studies about language acquisition couldn't reach a perfect method for teaching languages.
Mhm.
You see, because we could benefit from research in our second language classes, but still we don't have a method because the acquisition of languages is not transparent. There are so many factors that interfere. We can research on some factors, but there are others that interact and we don't see because thinking about everything in language acquisition is impossible
Mhm.
because we are humans. It's like human psychology. So
Absolutely.
complex.
Very
Yeah.
much so. Yes, indeed. Well, I think this,
And
I can't wait. I think this means we need to take another trip to
that's it.
Immediately.
and do this
Immediately.
and have this conversation in person.
Yeah. That would be nice.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, it's a really interesting topic and
it,
something that I feel like a lot of people you partake in it every single day because chances are you talk every single day, but you don't think about the process behind that, how you came to understand a language or learn a language.
mhm. That is so true.
Yeah. And then we have those people who have problems in their brains, for example, how they process. You were talking about Cheryl, about that person that you met here in Spain. It was hard to talk to that person, but that taught you about Spanish. And
Mhm,
that taught you about communication. And that is the main thing that we have to take into account, that we have a diversity in the human population that has to be addressed. The children, the people that have impairments, physical or mental impairments, they need also to they can also improve their communication. In which ways? What can we do for them? That's something that linguists do in psycholinguistics and some specializations of linguistics, but also the human experience. How can we improve the human experience when learning languages?
mhm.
Your own language and another language, second languages in general.
And that just took me to another thought. On the other end of that spectrum, there's people that have this ability to, you know, just to take language and do such amazing things with it. Poets and and they're so quick-witted. You know what I mean? I don't know how obviously it's talent, but it just shows it's the other end of that spectrum. People that can just take double entendres and just make things and it's like magic, you know. And you
Well, I wouldn't say magic. I would say just creativity. And
yeah.
they are creative in the use of language.
Mhm,
So that is something that makes us human. And that is what is being replicated by artificial intelligence. You
mhm,
see, artificial intelligence is an application of human creativity with the human language. So maybe you cannot see the difference between a poem created by a human and a poem created by a machine. So right now, we have a very high level in that sense, in the way that we can replicate human creativity. But I don't think it could be perfectly replicated. You see, because for example, the machines, the artificial intelligence doesn't distinguish between the emotions, the humor, for example. They don't understand humor. The
right.
humor is not very well transmitted
Yeah,
to
it's
that.
Mm-mm.
the human. That's just a human thing that you can't.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and cultural, because you have a humor in the United States that is different in Europe, and the American Spanish-speaking countries have a different kind of humor that we have here in Spain. So it doesn't depend on the language; it depends on the culture,
Hmm.
and the cultural content in languages is fundamental for communication,
Hmm.
and that makes differences too. Yeah.
Sure. Well, this has been so interesting, but I also have some rapid fire questions I would like to ask you if you're ready.
Which are,
Rapid.
yeah,
I
I'm
asked
ready.
I asked you one already. It was the your favorite Spanish word or phrase. So these are just opinion questions. And bring
Okay.
weigh in on these too. Okay?
Oh, good.
All right. First question, what's your preference? Tapas or paella?
Paella.
Oh,
Rice is great for the stomach. It fills the stomach. Tapas tapas come with a beer or a wine. So they need to be they are required to be eaten with alcohol, and I prefer not to because you cannot eat and drink all the time a lot.
that's
So it's dangerous. I think paella with a glass of water, that's perfect.
Or a Fanta orange.
Fanta.
Yeah, you can keep on talking without talking nonsense. I'm going to light up this room because it's so dark right now. Yeah, it's now it's night. Night is coming to Madrid.
Yeah, you're 9 hours ahead, right? So it's 7?
It's seven,
Oh, okay.
7. And my daughter is slamming on the door.
She like, even here.
You couldn't hear that, but she was slamming. She's here
Oh,
already. But I'm going to be with you.
okay. Well, we appreciate it.
Yeah.
And so Brittany, what was your preference? Tapas or paella? What did you say?
Probably tapas.
Tapas? Okay, because you can just
Yeah.
Oh, we have a different option, and that's okay. That's okay.
let's see. The most beautiful city in Spain.
San Sebastian,
Oh,
without a doubt. San
okay.
Sebastian, the beach, the beautiful beach they have there. Um, it's amazing. And the food, tapas in San Sebastian are the best in the Basque Country. Yeah.
Okay. Brittany?
I really liked Galicia when we were there.
Uh-huh.
Um, that was just such a magical experience in general. But I don't know, the last visit had me thinking Sevilla.
Sevilla. Uh-huh.
But in like Barcelona, like the architecture, like Gaudi, like it's a really a sight to see.
Uh-huh.
I think it's hard to choose just one.
It is tough. And you know what? I feel like I need to have many more visits to go to many more places.
Yeah, I need to really figure it out. How else am I going to figure out if I don't go?
Yeah, that's true.
That's right. I love all your cities, Brittany, so
Hmm.
it's hard to choose.
Very
You
hard.
But
can't
San
go
Sebastian,
wrong, you know?
yeah.
Okay. This question is just for Cristina. If you were not a linguistics professor, what would you be doing?
Wow. I would be painting.
Oh,
I would paint more.
oh,
I
wow.
love painting. Yeah, it's another way of communicating.
Hmm.
So
It,
communication has so many sides, and the paints, the images,
mhm,
images have communication there. Behind the image, there is something.
mhm.
And I am a very bad painter, but I love it.
Well, as long,
Or photography.
yeah, that's the important thing. Okay. Which
Oh,
dialect do you think is the most?
Brittany, please.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, Brittany was
sorry, I
going
had
to
to
talk
think.
now.
How many times have you read Don Quixote?
Oh my, 5. The
Five.
whole
Oof,
book, the 2 volumes, not just one. 5
five
times. Yeah,
times. My goodness.
yeah. In the high school and then 3 times in the university. And after I finished university, I wanted to read it again on my own without a teacher,
Mhm.
without
Hmm.
exams.
Make
So
it
more
less
or less,
stressful.
yeah, that's it. And delightful because I had pleasure reading it, and I was laughing out loud many times.
Hmm.
Yeah.
It is a magical book. I'm planning on doing
Yeah.
well, actually, when I was in, I don't know what year it was, but we did the Ruta del Quijote as part of one
Oh,
of our,
good.
when we were there. And with Aitor, he took us. And I think, um, there was somebody else, but I don't remember who. But I would like to do that again and just go, on my own and do it. Like, I think that would be a lot of fun.
Yeah. Hmm.
Okay. Um, okay, Castilian Spanish or Latin American Spanish? Do you have a preference?
Latin American Spanish for me sounds much better
Really?
than my own pronunciation because they have music that I don't have, and that I like.
Hmm.
I like when I listen to a Mexican or when I listen to a Colombian or an Argentinian speaker. I just love it. I can be like thinking about the music they make, and that's beautiful. The intonation they have, yeah, and the words too.
Hmm.
When I hear, for example, voseo instead of tú, they say in many countries they use vos. I think about Old Spanish. You see, and when they hear my sound th, they say, "Oh, that's Old Spanish." No, it isn't, but it sounds old to you. So it's funny when we contrast, when we hear different accents in Spanish or English or whatever language.
Hmm.
It's nice to have them. It's richness.
Hmm. For sure. What about you, Brittany?
I don't know if I have a preference yet.
Oh, that's okay too.
I would probably say Latin American just because that might be a little bit easier for me to understand
Hmm.
in some aspects.
I don't know. I think for me, it's the Castilian Spanish, maybe because I spent um, a few years studying there in Spain, and I just love, I don't know what it is. There's just something about it that I just love hearing it, you know? So
Yeah,
maybe just because.
because of the good times.
Mhm.
The
Hmm.
good times that you had here.
Yes, I think that's probably what it is. Definitely. Um, let's see. Is okay, morning coffee or evening wine in Madrid?
Morning coffee. An early bird, without a doubt. Mornings. I love mornings.
I knew you that I would up.
Morning coffee and a good walk in
Oh,
the morning.
definitely. Definitely.
Yeah.
A good way to start the day.
Yep.
Brittany, I know you don't know anything about morning.
Evening wine or an evening Fanta.
There you go.
Oh, Fanta.
I love a Fanta naranja.
Oh,
Oh, and
yeah.
that you cannot have in the United States. In the
It
United
does
States, there
not
is
taste
no
the
Fanta.
same. It
No, it
it's
doesn't.
it does not taste the same over here. It's way more artificial. It's very fake.
That's what I like about
Yeah, with sugar.
is that the food is
Hmm.
and I don't have to worry so much about what I'm eating.
Hmm.
Hmm.
It's one thing I wish that healthier eating habits.
Yeah, the
Uh,
sugar.
yeah, for sure. And I mean, even if it's sugar, like they put all the addictive, they superpower the sugar.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. So
Hmm.
It really is crazy.
yeah, I agree. I have one last question. If you could speak any other language fluently, which one would it be? One that you don't already speak.
Basque.
Oh,
Basque. I started learning Basque, Euskera, Vasco, uh, 15 years, 14 years ago. And I started with an online course. It was terrible. I couldn't make a sentence when I was in the Basque country. I couldn't make a sentence, and I would love to because it's a very ancient language in Europe, very very special. But I would love to speak Basque. Nobody would understand me. It would be like a secret code. You see, that is it has very little speakers, number of speakers, but I love it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Do you ever practice with Aitor?
No,
No?
never did we speak in Basque because my Basque is so basic. I just can't say. I made 1 year in this online course, but it was so bad about just memorization of sentences. It was so mechanical learning that I don't remember anything but saying hello and good morning or have a good day or something like that. It's
Mm,
something that is ridiculous, you see, because the method, the way you use teaching matters a lot.
mhm.
Without communication, I had no interaction
Like what we
because it was
mhm,
just watching videos and reading texts from the internet, and that was not enough at
mhm.
all. So I would like to relearn Basque in the future. Yeah, when I retire, I think that would be a good way to activate my brain.
Mhm. Well, I will check back with you and find out how you're doing in a few years on that.
Oh, I hope so. I hope so. I'll tell you. Yeah, that would be nice.
Yeah. How about you, Brittany?
Um, I think maybe Samoan or Japanese or Italian. Italian seems like, having some knowledge of Spanish, I could bridge that gap a little more easily. But
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, it's hard to pick just one.
Mhm. It is. I have been playing around during the pandemic. I started studying French on Duolingo and Italian.
Hmm.
Uh,
Loved them both, but like you said, it's the interaction. It just got harder and harder. But and I think even Portuguese. I tried to do all three of them because I was so bored. But um, like you said, you really have to have some interaction. You got to have some type of motivation other than just, you know, studying for 50.
Hmm.
So, yeah.
Some kind of real
and
immersion.
Yes, the immersion is really important. So,
mhm.
time to do some more travel.
Hmm.
That's it.
Yes, indeed.
That's the only way.
It really is. That's the bottom line. Well, I want to thank both of you for joining me today and being part of this conversation. And hopefully, we'll have another conversation soon in person. As I said, I'm planning on getting there again very soon, and we'll definitely have to meet for morning coffee. Brittany will just have to.
That, and I would walk. A good walk in Madrid. That would be perfect. That would be great.
Very much so. I'm looking forward to it.
Yes.
Yeah. So I hope that you enjoy your bright day today, sunny day.
Oh, yes.
And because it doesn't last, you have to take advantage of it very well because you see the sun is gone in Madrid this
Yes.
time. I hope that you have a great day. And Cheryl, thank you so much for this opportunity. And Brittany, thank you so much for your cats there, letting your cats, because I had fun seeing how
Absolutely.
they jump, they are in front of the camera. That's nice, very nice. It reminds me of my cats and so nice, you see, so
Hmm.
natural. Oh, my ear, I'm scratching my ear. That's good. They are beautiful and they're very similar to my cat when I had one.
Aw,
Very,
Hmm.
very
Yeah, they're very
similar.
sweet.
they are.
Yeah. She was called Merlina, like Merlin, the magician in the tale of Merlin, this wizard, a
Oh,
wizard, the wizard. They are very, very similar. So I had a
Mm.
lot of fun with your cats, Brittany. Thank you. And with Erin, she disappeared. Cheryl, are you sure that Erin is okay?
She's okay.
Because she's too young.
She's in the
Okay.
by the toys. She's singing.
Ah, she's singing. That's nice. That's so nice. That
Putting on
means
her own
that
concert.
yeah, she's very happy. If
Yes,
she's singing, she's happy.
yes, indeed. Well,
That's nice. So it's very nice to see you again.
thank you both so much. And we will talk again very soon.
I hope.
Yes.
Bye. Have a good day. Bye
Thank you
bye.
for meeting with us. It was a wonderful
Bye.
conversation.
Yes.
Wonderful.
An extraordinary one.
Thank you for tuning in to Nostalgic Travel Talks. I hope today's episode inspired you to dive deeper into your next journey. And if you enjoyed our conversation, don't forget to subscribe and leave a review. It really helps others discover the show. And if you want even more insider tips, exclusive travel deals, and personal stories, be sure to sign up for my newsletter. Just head over to my website, nostalgictravelco.com, and hit subscribe. Until next time, keep exploring and keep making those unforgettable travel memories.